Hey everybody, it's Katie from Bobby Hair Studio. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to be taking you guys through this technique that I just tried out for the first time. This is a platinum card, but it's done in a different kind of way than taking just strips of hair and bleaching them all the way to the top and then doing the roots. I actually won't be doing the roots at all today because this is a really great way to get a nice shadow root effect without having hard, harsh lines if your client wants to have a little bit of root. So stay tuned and you'll see how I do this process. This is my client before. She has this old balayage in her hair. Her hair is naturally quite fragile, so it doesn't like to grow beyond this point. So we're gonna cut it into a bob and we are going to make her blue instead of this red color that she has in there. You can see some banding where her natural color is, and it's a lot more, I guess you would consider that cooler tone than what she already has in there. I'm going to be fighting a little bit of the red, but I don't think that it'll be too hard to take out because it is a professional color line red, because I did it. I did this red in the fall, and now she's ready for a big change. So we're giving her a good chop to get rid of the dead ends, and we're going to add in some layers as well to get rid of the little bits of blonde that are still in the hair. And she does want to go short anyways, have a cute fresh new bob for summer, and just go for a fresh new look. So that's my favorite thing about my job, honestly, is taking people from these huge transformation colors, going from one end of the spectrum to the other, because it challenges me and it's really fun for the client to come in with one thing and then to leave with something completely different than what they had in coming in. All right, here we go. So I am sectioning her into quarters in the back. I'm weaving out her baby hairs, and this area, there's not a lot of room for blending, so I'm just trying to get as much blend as I can in. My weaves are very skinny and small. They may look kind of larger here, but I'm actually gonna zoom in just a moment to show you what it looks like for me to weave out a piece and apply bleach on it nice and close up so you can get a real good look at what I'm doing here. I'm also going to slow it down for you a little bit so you can get a real good view of what it is that I'm doing here. I'm holding the section of her hair in my hand and I'm using my rat tail comb to give a little zigzag through to pull a little bit of baby light weaving out. Then I like to pin up the top of the hair, pull these with some tension, and put a Framar foil underneath. Now I'm not trying to go all the way to the root, I'm trying to cover over the red, so that's where I slap the bleach on, make sure it's super saturated, and then I use my power painter brush to feather up towards the top. Now you're gonna see this on all of the foils I do. I'm not leaving a single hair out of the head because this is the look that we're going for. I forgot to mention earlier, my formulation today is Blonde Me with 7 volume, and I am upping my volume little bit by little bit as I work my way up to the front of the head. I'm going to be adding a bit of 20 with every extra bowl that I use until I'm finally just at 20 volume and Blonde Me. And this is really good because she's naturally very light, so she doesn't need anything higher than 20. Every single one of my foils has to go pretty close up to the top because the red is pretty high up on the hair, but I am trying to give her a bit of a shadow root feel. So when you're going for a shadow root, you want to create as much softness as possible in your foils. So the way to do that is to feather up all of these little teeny baby lights, make the weaves as skinny and small as possible, and also try to make sure that all of your foils aren't being feathered up to the same point. Try not to bring them all the way up to, like, let's say the last quarter inch of the hair. Some of them are going to be lower, some of them are going to be higher. This creates a natural diffusion for the root, and it creates a natural softness that she can grow out for a long time before needing to get it redone. Once I'm done this side, I like to do the back area in quadrants. I don't like to do the whole left side and then go over to the right side or vice versa. I do like to do the bottom half of the hair before I start with the top half. This way I get a really, really even lift, and if I do need to pull out her foils a little sooner, then at least I can start with a whole area on the back and not have to worry about washing out maybe just the right side and letting the left side stay in because it's not done. The whole bottom half will be done at the same time. I can pull all of them out, rinse them out, and then work my way up the head. As I mentioned before, this is my first time experimenting with doing this technique all over the head. This is actually a really, really good technique to use for anybody who wants like a money piece in the front. You can do 5 or 6 of these in a row, and it's going to create a really soft money piece, and you're not going to have that really hard line that it's hard to blend out with a toner or a root shadow. So this is a good technique to use, honestly, for anybody. But I did use this for the first time all over the head, so I was a little unsure of how the turnout was going to be. I mean, I can visualize for the most part what it's going to look like at the end, but it was still a little bit of a guessing game, and it made me a little bit nervous, I'm going to be honest here, because I'm trying out something new. This is a fantastic technique if you have, let's say, a client who has really, really long hair and they want that really solid blonde look on the ends, but they want a really, really soft root. You can take every single piece of hair on the head and do at least the ends of it in this technique and blend up in different heights and different angles. You can back comb the hair as well if you want to, but I just wanted to let people know that this isn't a technique that you use for only one kind of service. You can use this for so many bleaching kinds of services. You don't leave any drops out, you just weave from the root, and I find this is really fun, and I'm going to be using this a lot more now that I've tried it out. I'm going to be cutting out a lot of the process here because honestly, it's just not necessary for you to see the same foiling technique being done all over the head. I'm going to show you guys the back and a little bit of the top, but the sides are exactly the same as everything else is. I am folding in all my foils so I don't get any slippage or bleeding, but on the top of the foils, when I do the mohawk section, I won't be needing to fold them in because they're not hanging, they're sitting on top of each other. If you are a highlight artist and you want to keep your speed up, I'd recommend that you do this technique for the top mohawk section of all of your foiling, is that you don't bother to fold in the sides of your foil. This allows you to fit more foils in because you're not folding the sides in and creating a bulkier surface that causes all the foils to kind of start standing upwards. You're just folding them in half the one time because they don't need to be held in there and locked in because they're just sitting on top of each other. They're not hanging or dangling from the scalp. This way I can cram in way more foils. They're super, super soft because I am using a baby light method, but again, not leaving out a single hair on the head. And it's a really quick way to do this also because there is a flat surface for me to paint on top of because all those foils are stacked underneath, and this is just where the speediest foiling happens. I also love doing the top last because all the heat rises to the top of the head and all of these foils are stacked on top of each other, creating a really, really good insulation point. So I have leveled up my bleach a little bit here. I'm using 20 volume up on this top mohawk section, but it's gonna catch up so fast to everything else that I'm not gonna need to worry about letting the other foils sit in for too long. So here she is, about 2 hours of foiling later, sitting, all of its processing, the top is catching up to the bottom, and we're gonna rinse her out all at once. After pulling out her foils, I like to use a clarifying shampoo first because that's going to pull out all the bleach residue on the hair. I give her a really good rinse because I don't want any bleach dust or residue left on the hair. That is going to affect the toning process. So 2 to 3 shampooings would be good for the client, and you can already see that she has a really soft looking root. It is really high up, but it is very soft looking. There's no harsh lines right now, and that's exactly the look we're going for. I'm so sorry, I did forget to film the toning process, but if you're wondering why her hair color looks different right now than it did in the sink, it's because I did a pre-tone. So what I did is I used a little bit of Schwarzkopf Vibrance, and I used 8-11 and 8-19. Those are both very cool formulas, and I didn't want to go to a level 9 because I just didn't feel like it would make the hair cool enough. When you're putting blue or a pastel blue kind of color on top of a yellow or an orangey yellow color, you have to cancel out the underlying pigment first because it's just going to make the hair look muddy. So if I can make the hair as cool toned as possible but still keep it very light with my toner, then I've done my job before I apply the blue color. This blue color is a mix of some Pulp Riot colors. It's a mix of powder and decoy and lilac and smoke. So it just made a really nice kind of pastel-y, smoky light blue. And you'll get to see it way better when I rinse it off and show you the end result. But yeah, I am applying with no gloves. I am a bit of a mess, but I mean, honestly, it's fine. My hands will be stained blue for like a day, but there's no harsh chemicals in here. It's just direct dye. So the worst that's going to happen is my hands will be a different color for a day. But you know what? That's okay. I'm a hairdresser. I'm used to it. And coming up in just a second, you're gonna see her final result. We finished her cut, we did a blow dry, and we curled her, and I'm so excited to show you. We are dried up, styled, we finished our cut, and this is our final result. She's a beautiful, soft powder blue. I would almost call this like kind of denim because it's a cool blue, and the ends are a nice soft whitish tone because of the old lightener that was in her hair, and her root is looking nice and soft. We didn't have to put any root shadow on there. There's no toning there. That's just the bleach work and then blue put on top. So look at this result, guys. What do you think? This is her in the chair lighting, which ends up being a little bit warmer than natural lighting. And then right here, she's in some natural lighting. She's right by the window, so you can see the true color of her hair. Thank you so much for coming to watch my video, you guys. Remember to like and subscribe below.